You believe you are someone, a name, a story, a collection of memories and choices that form a single, solid identity. You wake up each morning, look in the mirror, and say to yourself, "This is me." But what if I told you that this you is nothing more than a mask? What if the very sense of identity you cling to is the greatest illusion of all? We call it sanity, the fragile balance of holding a consistent self in a chaotic world. But what if sanity is itself just a mask we wear to appear coherent, predictable, safe? Behind it, we are fragmented, contradictory, chaotic, driven by forces we don't understand. Philosophy, psychology, even literature whisper the same dark truth. The self is not real. It is a costume stitched together to hide the madness beneath. Start with memory. You believe your identity is built on your past, on the things you remember. But memory is not a recording, it is a story. Neuroscience shows us that every time you recall an event, you change it. Each recollection is a rewriting. Your past is not fixed. It is a fiction you edit constantly. You are not remembering, you are storytelling, which means your identity is not a solid foundation. It is a lie you keep repeating until you forget it was ever a lie. Now think of personality. You imagine it is stable. You are kind or cruel or ambitious or lazy. But psychology shows personality shifts across context. You are one person at work, another with friends, another alone at night. Even your private self changes depending on mood, chemicals, hormones, exhaustion. The you who swore never to do something is not the same you who later breaks the promise. Personality is not one mask. It is an endless wardrobe, chosen and discarded with the situation. Consider morality. You tell yourself you are a good person, or at least you try to be. But philosophy has torn this illusion apart. Nietzsche said morality is a herd instinct dressed up as virtue. Freud said morality is the voice of repression, your desires disguised as shame. Foucault said morality is the invisible prison of society, controlling you even in your thoughts. Whatever angle you take, the conclusion is the same. Morality is not your truth. It is a script, rehearsed and performed. And what about your name? That precious sound you cling to, that you defend with pride, that you believe marks your uniqueness. You did not choose it. It was given to you, stamped on you before you understood language. It is not yours. It is a label society uses to summon you, track you, own you. Without it, the state cannot tax you, religion cannot baptize you, family cannot control you. Your name is not your identity. It is your barcode. But here is the most terrifying part. Even your inner voice, the one narrating this very moment as you listen, is not you. It is a patchwork of borrowed words, borrowed tones, borrowed thoughts. You learned how to think in the language of others. Every phrase your mind uses was given to you. You are not the author of your own inner monologue. You are its reader. And so even the voice inside is a mask, rehearsing a script you did not write. The mask of sanity holds you together. Without it, you would collapse into chaos. Without it, you would confront the unbearable truth. There is no you beneath the mask. There is only flux, contradiction, fragments of desire and memory colliding in the dark. That is why identity feels so fragile, because it is fragile. That is why people defend their self with such violence, because deep down they know it is hollow. Look at how people react when their identity is questioned. Criticize their religion, and they feel attacked personally. Criticize their politics, and they rage. Criticize their lifestyle, and they crumble. Why? Because their identity is not separate from these things. It is made of them. Strip away their labels and they fall apart. They cling to the mask as if it were skin. But it is only paint. Philosophy has always hinted at this. The Buddhists said the self is an illusion, a collection of aggregates without essence. Nietzsche said the doer is invented after the deed, that the self is only a grammatical trick. Sartre said existence precedes essence, meaning there is no fixed identity, only choices made in nothingness. These are not abstract theories. They are death sentences for the idea of a solid you. But society cannot function if people believe this. That is why the mask must be enforced. Children are taught to be themselves, as if there were such a thing. Adults are told to find themselves, as if the self were hiding somewhere waiting to be discovered. Media tells you to express yourself. Brands sell you products to define yourself. Everywhere you look, the illusion is repeated. You are someone. You have a core. You must protect it. But it is all theater. You are not someone. You are something wearing someone. You are not an essence. You are a performance. You are not sanity. You are a mask of sanity. And so I ask you, what happens when the mask slips? When the performance collapses? When the illusions crack and the fragments of your real chaos come pouring out? Comment below. Have you ever felt yourself fracture? Felt the mask slip even for a moment? Subscribe if you want to keep dismantling the illusions you cling to. Like this if you've ever wondered if you exist at all. Share this with someone who defends their identity fiercely and watch them panic when you tell them it is a lie. Because the truth is unbearable, but philosophy whispers it anyway. Your identity is not who you are. It is only a mask, and behind the mask, there is nothing. If in Block 1 we shattered the illusion of identity as something real, now we must face an even darker truth. This mask you call the self is not only an accident of psychology. It is enforced, designed, cultivated, and monitored. The world you live in does not simply allow you to wear the mask of sanity, it demands it. Entire institutions exist to make sure you never take it off. Begin with the family. Before you can even speak, they carve the first lines of your mask. They give you a name, they project expectations, they praise certain behaviors, and punish others. From the moment you open your eyes, you are being molded into something coherent, predictable, acceptable. A child's chaos is unbearable to society, so the family crushes it into a role. The obedient son, the ambitious daughter, the clever one, the shy one. These roles are not you. They are scripts. You are taught them before you even understand the words. Then comes school, the factory of masks. Here the performance becomes systematic. Sit here, speak now, don't speak then, memorize, regurgitate, obey. The child learns not who they are, but who they are supposed to be. Creativity is tolerated only when it can be standardized, tested, rewarded. Every grade, every report card, every teacher's comment chisels away at the chaos beneath and smooths the mask into something palatable. School does not teach truth, it teaches conformity. It teaches you how to wear the mask so tightly that you forget it is there. Religion perfects the disguise. It tells you what is sacred and what is sinful, what is permitted and what is forbidden, what you must confess and what you must hide. Religion does not simply police behavior. It polices thoughts, dreams, even desires. It tells you not only how to act, but who to be. The sinner and the saint are not realities. They are roles enforced by fear and hope. Entire rituals exist to repair cracks in the mask, to keep the chaos from spilling out. Sin is nothing more than the mask slipping. Salvation is putting it back on. Then comes work, the adult prison. Here the mask becomes your paycheck. You must be the professional, the manager, the clerk, the executive. You must smile when you are furious, obey when you despise, grind when you want to collapse. Work does not pay you for who you are. It pays you for how well you can maintain the mask. Rage is not profitable. Chaos is not productive. Work is where the mask fuses with survival. You wear it not to belong, but to eat. And over all of this hovers the state, the master mask maker. Bureaucracy does not care about your chaos, your contradictions, your fragments. It cares only that you have a name, an address, a number, a record. The state reduces you to categories: citizen, taxpayer, worker, voter, suspect. It does not ask who you are. It defines you, stamps you, files you away. If you resist, you disappear. The state does not punish you for being chaotic. It punishes you for refusing the mask. Every institution, family, school, religion, work, state, functions as a surveillance system, making sure your performance never falters. They tell you that to lose yourself is madness, that to question your mask is dangerous, that to resist your assigned role is rebellion. And they are right, because without the mask, you would terrify them. Without the mask, you would be unpredictable, uncontrollable, untaxable, unprofitable. Without the mask, you would be free, but in ways society cannot allow. This is why breakdowns are feared so deeply. When someone loses their mind, what they really lose is their mask. They no longer play the role. They say things that don't fit, do things that don't match, express the chaos beneath. Society does not pity them. It fears them. The insane are reminders of the truth, that the mask is fragile, that beneath it lies madness. So they are locked away, medicated, silenced, hidden. Not for their sake, for yours. To keep you from remembering that your sanity is also a mask. Even art, which pretends to reveal truth, often just sells prettier masks. The artist is celebrated not for showing chaos, but for packaging it in a way the herd can consume. The rebel becomes a brand. The outsider becomes a product. The mask reasserts itself, this time painted with bolder colors. But it is still a mask. And here is the cruelest twist. You enforce the mask on yourself. Long after your parents, teachers, priests, bosses, and leaders stop watching, you continue to police your own chaos. You scold yourself for feeling too much, for wanting too much, for being too much. You hide your impulses, censor your thoughts, shame your desires. You become your own warden. You put on the mask every morning and call it me. But deep inside, you feel it when you are alone, when the performance is unnecessary, when silence creeps in. You sense the fractures, the contradictions, the madness, and it terrifies you. That is why you cling to the mask even harder, because to remove it would be to dissolve. This is why identity politics, consumer culture, personal branding are so powerful today. They are not new freedoms, they are new masks. Society tells you to be yourself by buying a mask from a shelf. Clothes, beliefs, labels, hashtags. You are not discovering identity, you are shopping for it, and every purchase tightens the disguise. Comment below, which institution do you think enforces the mask most effectively? Family, school, religion, work, or the state? Subscribe if you want to keep unmasking the lies that hold yourself together. Like this, if you've ever felt yourself acting a role you didn't choose. Share this with someone who brags about being themselves, and watch how quickly they panic when you ask them who that self really is. Because sanity is not who you are, it is who you are allowed to be. And your identity is nothing more than a mask nailed to your face. If Block 1 showed that identity is an illusion, and Block 2 revealed how society forces you to wear the mask, then Block 3 faces the most dangerous possibility. What happens if you become conscious of the mask? The herd never asks this question. For them, the mask is reality. They believe in their name, their story, their role, their sanity. They die defending it. But the moment you see that the self is artificial, you stand at a crossroads. You can collapse into despair, screaming that nothing is real, or you can turn the illusion into a weapon. Because if identity is a mask, then it can be worn strategically. This is where philosophy becomes power. Most people think philosophy is about finding yourself. That is the great joke. Philosophy at its sharpest is not about discovery, but about invention. You do not find yourself. You construct yourself. You decide which mask to wear, when to wear it, how to manipulate it. You stop being a prisoner of identity and become its architect. Think about it. If identity is fiction, then you are free to edit the story. You can shift masks depending on what you want, rather than what others demand. You can play the saint when morality gives you leverage, the rebel when chaos benefits you, the loyal servant when obedience buys time, the predator when power is within reach. The herd will call this hypocrisy, but hypocrisy only matters to those who think there is a real self behind the mask. Once you know there isn't, switching masks is not hypocrisy, it is mastery. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that rulers must learn to wear the mask of virtue while practicing vice, not because they are liars, but because the mask is the only thing the herd can see. The ruler's survival depends not on who he really is, but on what mask he wears convincingly. The wise do not waste time chasing authenticity. They invest in performance. Nietzsche, too, whispered the same. He laughed at the idea of the self as stable, saying we are nothing but a bundle of drives that invents a fiction called I. But instead of despairing, he urged us to embrace the fiction and write it ourselves. To become an artist of the self, painting masks with deliberate strokes, not wearing the ones handed down by family, religion, or state. And this is where you find power. The herd has only one mask, the one they inherited, the one they mistake for truth. You, if you awaken, have many. You can shift, adapt, deceive. You can craft identities that manipulate others while protecting your chaos. You can become unreadable, untouchable, unpredictable. The herd cannot fight what it cannot define. But beware, this mastery requires coldness. To wear masks deliberately, you must abandon the dream of authenticity. You must accept that there is no real you hiding underneath. If you cling to that illusion, you will hesitate, falter, fall back into the prison of identity. You must let go of the desire to be true and embrace the necessity of being effective. This terrifies people. They ask, if I am only a mask, then what is the point? But that question already assumes the existence of a point, a truth, a core. Abandon it. The point is not to be, but to play. Not to discover, but to design. The point is to wield masks as tools in the game of power. That is the only liberation possible, not freedom from masks, but mastery of them. Imagine the advantage. In politics, you can present the mask of compassion while plotting ruthlessly. In business, you can wear the mask of loyalty while preparing your own empire. In love, you can wear the mask of devotion while holding your autonomy. In philosophy, you can wear the mask of sanity while secretly dancing with chaos. The herd plays one role until it dies. You become a shapeshifter. But there is a danger. If you forget that the mask is a mask, you become enslaved again. Many rulers fall not because they are overthrown, but because they start to believe their own performance. They believe they really are merciful, righteous, beloved. Then they stop adapting, stop deceiving, stop switching masks, and the pyramid devours them. The predator becomes prey the moment he worships his own disguise. So remember this rule: never believe your own mask. Wear it, use it, discard it, but never fall in love with it. The moment you confuse performance with reality, you are lost. The mask of sanity is not truth. It is strategy. Sanity itself is performance, coherence rehearsed for the audience of society. Once you see that, you can choose: collapse into chaos or wield the mask with precision. Collapse, and you are cast out as insane. Wield it, and you become untouchable. Comment below. If you could choose any mask, which one would you wear? Subscribe if you want to keep learning how to weaponize illusions instead of being crushed by them. Like this if you've ever felt yourself playing a role just to survive. Share this with someone who believes in authenticity, and watch how they flinch when you tell them authenticity is just another mask. Because sanity is not your essence, it is your costume. And only those who know it as a costume can ever rule the stage. The illusion of identity was never meant to be broken. The mask was designed to hold. Families, religions, states, corporations, they all survive because people believe the mask is who they are. But once you see through it, you can never return. You cannot unknow the lie. You cannot slip the mask back on with innocence. You either collapse into madness, or you step fully into the theater and learn to act. The world is not a search for truth. The world is a stage, and everyone you meet is performing. The father who pretends strength while crumbling in silence. The leader who pretends righteousness while clawing for power. The lover who pretends devotion while hungering for freedom. The employee who pretends loyalty while plotting escape. Masks everywhere, layers upon layers. And the tragedy is that most do not know they are acting. They believe their own disguises. They live and die in borrowed roles, never realizing they are actors in someone else's script. But you, if you have listened this far, you cannot claim that ignorance. You have seen the strings, the costumes, the scripts. You know identity is not essence, but theater. That knowledge is both curse and liberation. Curse, because the dream of authenticity is dead. Liberation, because you can stop searching for it. You can stop bleeding for it. You can stop killing yourself for a true self that never existed. So what remains? The art of performance. Not shallow play acting, not fake smiles, not clumsy lies, but deliberate masks, chosen with precision, worn with intelligence. You become actor and director at once. You write your roles, stage your scenes, set your illusions. And in doing so, you rise above the herd, who stumble blindly in their unchosen disguises. This is the Machiavellian secret. The one who knows the mask is a mask already has power over those who don't. If the herd believes in authenticity, you can sell it to them. If they worship truth, you can feed them yours. If they cling to morality, you can direct their guilt. They will defend their roles to the death and you will guide them like puppets, because you know there are no roles, only masks. But here lies the danger. Mastery requires constant vigilance. You must never forget that you too are acting. The philosopher who sees through the mask but fails to keep acting becomes a madman, rejected by the herd. The predator who forgets his role becomes prey. The ruler who believes his own performance becomes a corpse. To live consciously in the theater of masks is to live without comfort, without anchor, without essence. It is to walk on stage knowing it is all fiction and still deliver your lines better than anyone else. That is the art of cold thinking. That is the mask of sanity, wielded instead of worshipped. You do not seek who you really are. You ask instead, which role serves me now? Which illusion strengthens me now? Which mask hides my chaos? Which mask magnifies my power? That is philosophy stripped of hope, reduced to strategy. It does not save you, it arms you. So do not waste your life chasing the dream of authenticity. Do not waste your breath demanding, accept me as I am. There is no I am. There is only I perform. And the only question is whether you perform clumsily, believing your own lines, or artfully, bending the stage to your will. The herd will laugh at this. They will shout, "That's not true, I know who I am." But listen carefully. The louder they shout, the tighter their mask is nailed. They must scream, because silence would let the chaos creep in. They cannot afford silence. You can. That is the difference. And so I ask you, are you ready to stop searching for yourself and start writing yourself? Are you ready to abandon authenticity and embrace performance? Are you ready to stop being an actor in someone else's play and become the playwright of your own? Comment below. If you could write your mask deliberately, what would it look like? Subscribe if you want to keep tearing down the illusions that chain you. Like this if you've ever felt your mask slipping, even for a moment. Share this with someone who worships authenticity, and watch how they crumble when you tell them authenticity is just another disguise. Because sanity is not your essence, it is your mask. And the ones who know this rule the stage.